So it appears that Uber in California and Lyft will have to reclassify their drivers as employees due to a court decision that came out late yesterday afternoon, stating that they have 30 days to classify their drivers as employees or they'll be in violation of AB5. And that will be a pretty crazy thing because in 2 weeks, Prop 22 is happening. That's what we're talking about right now. Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's updates to what's going on, news, tips and tricks for passengers and drivers, or what actually happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Also, make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. So right now, yes, this is a live stream. It is some pretty breaking news, especially for those in California, because a appeals court just said that they are going to make sure that drivers are reclassified as employees in 30 days, or they're going to be in violation of the law. So we're going to go over a couple of different things. We're going to go over an article real quick of what that's going to look like. I will get into the chat in a little bit after, so if there's any questions or comments or anything, this is going to be a pretty quick live stream nonetheless. So anybody who's watching the replay, this will be right on topic for the most part until we get into what the live chat is talking about. Then it can go a little bit different. So anybody who's watching, that's what we're going to be talking about first. Now, yes, this is kind of shocking to hear exactly what happened. A lot of crazy things of what's going on. Currently, though, right now, there's nothing that's going to be changing in California. In 30 days is when this will be taking effect. But in 12 days or 11 days or whatever election day is, that's when Prop 22 is going to happen. So if there's a no on Prop 22 and it doesn't pass, then in the X amount of days from this 30 days, then that is going to say that drivers have to be employees or they're going to be in violation. And that could open up the whole thing again. Will Uber and Lyft leave California? Will they shut down? Will they fall in line? Will drivers become employees and switch over? That is still yet to happen because nobody knows what's going to happen on November 3rd. But that also brings up, if there's a yes on Prop 22 and it passes, then that means this whole thing and this whole court case essentially goes away and there's nothing when it comes to it. Whoops. Hold on. Now let's hold on one second. There we go. Sorry about that. Now, this is the first article that I'm going to be discussing, and I'm going to go over a second one, which is going to show basically a couple of the reactions of the state of California, as well as what Uber and Lyft said. And also, what are your thoughts on this? You can comment in the live chat or in the comments below and let me know. So yes, right off the bat, it's saying that the appeals court orders Uber and Lyft to classify drivers as employees. And it's, oh, I'm sorry, went to the wrong article. So it's saying this one is California court says Uber and Lyft drivers are employees. Links will be in the description below. So if you want to check out these articles, then you can. But it's going and says California appeals court on Thursday upheld an order requiring Uber and Lyft to treat their California drivers as employees instead of independent contractors less than 2 weeks before voters will be asked to exempt the ride-hailing giants from the state's gig economy law. Decision won't have any immediate impact because it doesn't take effect for at least 30 days, well after the November 3rd Prop 22 vote. And that's pretty much what I said. So right now, there's nothing that's going to be changing. It's just within 30 days and if Prop 22 fails. If it passes, then again, it's a moot point. So it goes on, it says Uber and Lyft, who along with DoorDash have heavily bankrolled the ballot measure, had appealed on August preliminary injunction by a San Francisco judge, but the appellate ruling found no legal error and allowed it to stand. So it says, we conclude that the injunction was properly issued in accordance with the enduring principles of equity. The 74-page ruling said it's a broad scope, no doubt, but so too is the scale of the alleged violations. Uber and Lyft issued statements noting that the ruling does not take immediate effect and urging voters to approve Prop 22. Lyft also said it is considering appealing to the California Supreme Court And again, they will push more and more options if things do not happen. So if there's a note on 22, expect Uber and Lyft to appeal this even further, going to the state Supreme Court, and then maybe even a federal Supreme Court. So they're going to be pushing this as much as they can. So together, the two companies have more than 400,000 drivers in California. Decision came in a lawsuit filed by California Attorney General Xavier Becerra and the city attorneys of LA, San Diego, and San Francisco under a new California law that says companies can only classify workers as contractors if they perform work outside the usual course of their business. Treating Uber and Lyft drivers as employees instead of independent contractors would guarantee benefits such as overtime, sick leave, and expense reimbursement for workers who make up much of the freewheeling gig economy. And then it's going to go a little bit further. But if you want to read this article, like I said, link will be in the description below. We're going to go into what both Uber and Lyft have said and also what the state of California has said, issuing statements on this particular court ruling. So yesterday evening, it said in a Twitter announcement, it said, "We just won a unanimous victory for workers in our case against Uber and Lyft in the Court of Appeal. Drivers are employees. Full statement coming soon." And as you can see, that was the issue. So what did Lyft say on this? They really didn't say much of anything. All they said was the ruling makes it more urgent than ever for voters to stand with drivers and vote yes on Prop 22, she wrote. Uber's statement in the ruling says today's ruling means that if voters don't say yes on Prop 22, rideshare drivers will be prevented from continuing the work as independent contractors, putting hundreds of thousands of Californians out of work and likely shutting down ride sharing throughout much of the state. We're considering our appeals options, but the stakes couldn't be higher for drivers, 72% of whom support Prop 22, and for the California economy, where millions of people are jobless and another 158,000 sought unemployment this week. So that is what Uber and Lyft have said. Uber said a little bit more and are talking right here about appeal options as well. So like I said, they'll probably join the cause with Lyft if Prop 22 doesn't pass in trying to appeal that decision as well. So it goes on and says the San Francisco city attorney, Dennis Herrera, released the following statement saying, "This decision is abundantly clear that Uber and Lyft have been breaking the law for years. The only thing radical and unprecedented is the scope of Uber and Lyft's misconduct. This is a victory for the people of California and for every driver who has been denied fair wages, paid sick days, and other benefits by these companies. For too long, Uber and Lyft have illegally denied their drivers basic workplace protections and shifted that burden onto drivers and taxpayers. Uber and Lyft have pocketed millions of dollars by leaving drivers in the lurch and taxpayers to foot the bill. The law is clear. Drivers continue to have all the flexibility they currently enjoy while getting the rights they deserve as employees. The only thing preventing that is Uber and Lyft's greed." So there's going to be a lot of questions exactly what it's going to look like, what it's going to happen. And yeah, they're allowing for the freedom and flexibility to continue, but it's going to really be up to Uber and Lyft and all the other gig economy platforms if they're going to continue that or not. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the statement from California Attorney General Xavier. And he stated that Californians have fought long and hard for paycheck and benefit protections. Uber and Lyft have used their muscle and clout to resist treating their drivers as workers entitled to those paycheck and benefit protections. The courts saw right through their arguments. In the midst of a COVID health and economic crisis, what worker can afford to be not denied basic protections like paid sick leave, unemployment insurance, minimum wage, or overtime? Today's decision comes on the same day that federal government reports more than 1 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits, and 3 of every 10 of them are gig workers or self-employed. But remember, companies like Uber and Lyft that classify gig workers as independent contractors don't pay into unemployment benefit funds for workers. That means the American taxpayers, not gig companies like Uber and Lyft, are covering the unemployment benefits that gig workers are receiving from the COVID bailout. That's not fair to our workers and taxpayers. It's time for Uber and Lyft to play by the rules. So as you can see, this is pretty breaking news in the state of California, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it plays out. Now, the next few, hold on, let me move the chat over and I'll get to that as well. Now, the next few things that are going to be happening is again, nothing is really happening at least for 30 days, but that means Prop 22 will be voted on it come November 3rd, and all of the early people who are voting, that is also going to play into it. So it will be known after if there's a yes or a no on Prop 22. And again, if there's a yes on 22, then this point is pretty much mute at that point. But if there's a no, then you can see drivers could possibly be employees in the next 30 days from now, or could they leave the state of California? That could be another option. There could be a lot of different things going there, but either way, if there's a no on 22, expect them to appeal to a higher court, which would probably be, I believe at this point, the Supreme Court now, and then going on even further than that. If they don't like that decision, then it could go to a federal Supreme Court. So it could be pretty interesting any way, shape, or form. All right, so let's get into the chat. That's pretty much all I got to say about the breaking news. Anything more that comes from this, I'll let you know, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be much more until there's the vote on 22 on November 3rd. So Rideshare Lisa, what's going on? Jim, how you doing? Horse feathers, I refuse to be an Uber employee. Yes on 22. And you're in California as well. So this is probably going to be, I don't know if you heard this or not yesterday, but yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting what's going to be happening. Question is, why so early for the live stream? Because I'm busy and I got a lot of things to do today. So instead of making an actual video, that's why I decided to do a live stream, if that's what you're asking. Wayne O'Connor, hey, what's going on? How are you? Jay Pavilion, employee equals you pay more taxes. Yes, 100% right there. True. Left is spewing crooked California court going against the will of Battle of Prop 22. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, like I said, to see what's going to happen when it comes to a vote. Now, is there enough people? There's 30 million people in the state of California. There's only a few 100,000 drivers in the state of California. So it's a very big uphill battle for them to get the yes or the no. Who knows what's going to exactly happen? But like I said, we got only less than 2 weeks away to see what the state of California and the voters are going to decide. Let's be real. It's all about taxes. I agree with you 100%. AB5, I think, is all about taxes. I agree with you. It doesn't put really a lot of benefits when it comes to drivers. They just want the taxes, especially for a state where a lot of people are leaving because they don't know how to run their state. They got their heads too far up their asses. And I'll go on record saying that. Sure, as Newsom wants AB5 to stick, so courts and politicians are getting their way regardless. He's on recall chop block. Yeah, you know, a lot of things that Newsom's been doing lately, it's going to be really hard to see him being revoted whenever he is up for re-election. This is some BS. I can agree with you there, Trey. Lisa, but unfortunately, the executive to Uber and Lyft, you live in $1 million mansions, and all the drivers don't. Yeah, well, one of the things to say about that, that's the whole thing about being the head honcho. You're the one who's making the money, and you're making the profits on top of what all the workers are doing. So that's kind of just a normal business. I mean, any business out there is going to be doing the exact same thing. You're going to have your CEOs having multi-million-dollar mansions while the workers in any of the companies, let's say Coca-Cola, for example, or Pepsi-Cola, or, you know, whatever it might be, there's going to be pretty much the same thing there. Now, if they got to pay shareholders, that's a different story, but they're still going to get their bonuses and they're still going to live in nice houses and stuff. So, I mean, that's not really too much different than any typical company out there. Where are we at? Raise Roll, what's going on? You have a W-2 job and paid into unemployment, and you work through the whole pandemic doing the W-2 job and gig work and didn't receive anything from unemployment. Good job, Lisa. A lot of people can't say the same. So, yeah, it was a question. What was the question? You might need to re-ask that question because I'm not sure exactly what you mean. If it passes, Uber and Lyft should leave California to show them how stupid they are. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible, Theodore. There are petitions to recall the governor, CA Lyft driver. What's going on, Amy? I believe that. I think in New York, there's probably petitions as well to recall Cuomo as well. So yeah, it does happen. Whether there's anything that happens from it, that would be an interesting thing. How much longer does Newsom have in office? Because more than likely, he's probably going to be voted out, and there's probably going to be some sort of change coming. But I don't know how much more of his term he has. Companies don't pay taxes either. That's left to the drivers. Well, that's true. But they're also able to report it differently. So they're able to take losses and their gains and all these things. That's why they have accountants to do a lot of this stuff. The same thing like Amazon. It's the same thing like Apple. It's the same thing like every other company out there. Now, here's the other side of that story. You, as a driver, could start your own company, an LLC, S Corp, anything like that. And you are entitled to the exact same tax loopholes that these large companies have as well. So you can do that also. You just have to have an accountant who knows what they're doing and the right ways of doing it. So you can take advantage of those as well. It's just a matter of if you want to. And that can help you also lower your tax. So instead of paying maybe 30, 35%, you could bring it down to maybe 10%, 15%. So it's all about diversifying how your income's coming in, different things when it comes to expenses and expense reporting, and especially talking to an accountant who would know these types of things and be able to help you get those tax loopholes. Those are things you can do. You just know from people telling you over 100 are voting yes because of how AB5 will destroy the free marketing in California. Yeah, I agree with you there. It can definitely. When they're trying to take independent contractor status away and make it employee or not, yeah, that can be a real issue. They would be stupid to leave California. Uber and Lyft make bank there. Yeah, there's a lot of different options, and it's going to be over the next couple of weeks. We're going to see how this is all going to play out and things like that. You sent your recall petition in a few weeks ago. Nice. All the gig workers got unemployment that the companies didn't pay into. I didn't receive unemployment that I paid into. Now, how is that fair when they can get away with it? You know, it's let's just say we're in unprecedented times. So never before has there been the time where a independent contractor, self-employed, a gig worker, a freelancer, any of these types of people claiming can get unemployment. It's something that the federal government set up. So this doesn't even have anything to do with the state of California. This doesn't have anything to do necessarily with Uber and Lyft. Although, yes, it can, because it does say gig economy. It's just that the gig economy has blown up over the last few years. So it's all this unprecedented thing. Now, New York State has a law that claims that Uber and Lyft drivers can receive unemployment benefits in the state of New York as a regular employee. So different states have different laws as well on how they're going to treat that. So you're in New York, you could have taken the ability to do that, but you continued to do that. So, you know, that's one of the things there. It's going to come down to an option on what people are going to do, what they can or can't do. So like I said, it's just an unprecedented time. Do I think that they should have some sort of worker compensation for those who remained working and were able to work through the pandemic, especially being somebody who is on the front lines, like grocery, like what you do as well, Lisa? Yeah, I think they should be putting something out there, 100%. I think if you're going to pay unemployment to people who normally don't receive it, and a good chunk of unemployment that is since been kind of gone out the window because that expired at the end of July. But I think that workers who continued working should also have some sort of benefits coming to them or some sort of pay. That's just only fair. So hopefully you will get yours for continuing to work. Hopefully it will be a good stipend and you'll be able to take an extra vacation or two. That would be really nice. So hopefully that does happen. I am all for that. He has 2 more years than rerun. Ooh, I feel sorry for you guys. It's pretty much the same thing as Cuomo. I'd love to see him out too. So who knows what's going to happen there. AB5 is 100% government tax grab and just another step towards socialism. Definitely see that point there, Jim. Theodore, I didn't take the pandemic unemployment as I was making plenty of money while working the other companies doing food and delivery instead of passengers. Yep. Drivers fought for AB5. Some did, not all of them. You have a full article that clearly states the trouble AB5. Send the link. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Trying to read all the different things. I'm not saying go vote yes on 22. I'm not saying go vote no on 22 if you're in California. I'm saying vote what makes sense to you. Look at all of the options. Look at everything that's being said. Weigh each thing. And however it's going to be best for you, vote that way. Don't let others influence you on how you want to vote and what's going to be beneficial for you. This is something that is your call. I can share my thoughts on it, and I will share my thoughts on it, but I'm not going to say vote this way or that way. That's all up to you 100% of the way, whoever's in California and wants to go either way. Either way, I wish I could run a simulation and see exactly what California is going to do when it comes to Prop 22. If it passes or fails, I'd like to see what it looks like under Prop 22. I'd like to see what it would look like under employment. And then, we can see and kind of make a better informed decision. Unfortunately, we have to kind of make our own inferences on what could happen potentially without really knowing all of the information. And that's an unfortunate thing because we don't have any other way to look at to see, will it be successful as an employee relationship? Or would it be successful as a Prop 22 relationship? Or are both ways not great and there still needs to be improvement? So there's a lot of different things there. Hey, Beacon, what's going on? How you doing? All right. Any last minute comments, questions, or anything on this topic or anything else within rideshare? Let it be known now. And I'm going to be dropping the live stream very soon. I'm very busy today, so that's why I did a live stream instead of a video where I had to edit through everything and all that. So that's why I'm doing this live stream right now. But any other questions, comments, or anything, put them out right now. If not, then we're going to be dropping the live stream pretty quick. So like I said, this is some pretty breaking news nonetheless. 30 days as a court order had said when the state of California decided to not continue with Uber and Lyft's appeal, but rule in favor of a previous judgment in stating that drivers have to become employees. They gave them a 30-day time frame, and currently that means absolutely nothing until the 30 days. But again, Prop 22 could change that, and that is going to be whether it will continue on where this 30-day lawsuit and court decision will be mandatory or not. And it's all going to depend on Prop 22 next. So, all right. Other than that, you guys have a great, wonderful day. Have fun. It's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. So have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend, whatever you might be doing. If you're going out, having a good time, remember, always drive sober. Make sure you have a Uber or Lyft on hand, ready to order. Call a cab, have a friend or a family member, or plan ahead by having a designated driver. But whatever you do, never get behind the wheel after having a drink or anything. So make sure you will be safe and get home safe and help everybody else on the road. Remember, on November 1st, I will be doing a live stream that is going to be 24 hours long. And this is going to be one of those things that's going to help with not with AB5, but we're going to probably be talking about AB5, Prop 22, all that stuff, because in a couple of days, that's when the vote's going to happen. But we're going to be talking about driving sober. We're going to be raising money for MAD. There's a couple of things that I will talk about that with MAD, with Uber and Lyft. I'm not going to be talking about that now. There's a few things I'm going to share my thoughts on that, especially for some people who are very much against MAD and some of the things that they've done in coming out in their favor of 22, which I'm going to address on that 24-hour live stream. But either way, MAD is still a wonderful organization that is against drunk driving, and that is the reason why I have chosen them as the charity for the Always Drive Sober campaign, and that's my decision. So I'm the one who runs the channel. I get to decide that. If you have any ill feelings toward that, give me another charity and I'll do that for next year. But other than that, that's all I can say about that. Like I said, I will address that because there's a little bit more to the story, at least what I want to share. I'm not going to go against other channels that have already said certain things. So don't expect me to try to debate them on that. But if they want to have some discourse, we can absolutely do that as well. I'm sure some of you know what channel or people I'm talking about. But other than that, okay. No, I'm just seeing. All right. With that being said, everybody have a great Friday. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers, your delivery drivers, and your shoppers. And we'll see you next time.